What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Refuge Sports Podcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Evan.
And we like sports. Here we go. Week 3, NFL football. That's the whole intro, by the way.
Oh, that was
That's
the intro.
whole intro.
All right, that was.
We're getting straight to it today. We
right.
have a intramural flag football game in 2 hours.
Pop out if you can.
When you're hearing this, it already happened, but if you can time travel, come back, watch it, see my 400 passing yards, Evan, 3 touchdown
3 catches,
game.
3 touchdowns.
3 catches, 3 touchdowns. He currently has a 100% touchdown rate when he's targeted.
Last game, I had 2 targets, 2 catches, and 2 touchdowns.
And they were both beautiful. So
yeah.
That's basically our start set. Start both of us.
Yes, start both of us in fantasy, and that's going to be it for the episode.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining.
Start us for intramural
Verse of the week.
football.
No. All right, let's jump into our NFL Week 3 reactions. So we're going to start with the Texans and the Jaguars.
What?
There is a clip of us saying last week that we would not be surprised if the Texans upset the Jaguars.
In fact,
and guess what?
We asked to be put on record and wanted everyone to know that we actually thought that the Texans could win. And we still took the Jaguars for whatever reason.
So let the record show we said that they might win.
we said that there was a chance that they could win. And they did.
They did?
And they blew out the Jaguars.
They won. Dude, the CJ Stroud to Tank Dell connection looks...
It looks like me and you in flag football.
Dude, it actually looks so good. I don't know if it was the Jaguars' defense was just bad or CJ Stroud is legit. Yeah. I loved CJ Stroud. I had him over Bryce Young for most of the offseason.
Really?
Yeah. And then I took Bryce Young in the end just because I liked his arm talent better in decision-making. But... man, he looks good.
He looks fantastic.
And that division is a toss-up now.
Yeah, I'm shocked to say that as well because I thought Jacksonville was going to run away with it. And if I thought that a team would fight with Jacksonville, I thought it would be Tennessee.
Right.
And now...
here comes Houston.
Yeah, here comes... I mean, I don't really think that Houston are contenders. Like, I could see them winning 6, 7, 8 games. Like, the team looks pretty good, but I don't think it's ready yet to win the division. Yeah. But they're going to make progress.
All right. 70 points.
Yeah. 70 points.
70 points. Miami dropped 70 points against the Denver Broncos, led by Sean Payton and Russell Wilson.
Yeah. And you know what? Don't throw any of the blame on Russ. All right? Russ didn't look bad at all. The defense looked
abysmal.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
I think it partly has to do with Miami's offense being amazing.
Partly. But come on.
That defense, I mean, Miami tried to run the clock out. Like, they were trying to make the game go faster, and they just kept running. Yeah, it was insane. It was probably the most embarrassing game of NFL football that I maybe ever watched. Genuinely. It was that bad.
And the Dolphins were missing Jalen Waddle.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
So I don't know what it says about the Dolphins. Obviously, it says they're great, but what does it say about Denver? I mean, their defense is supposed to be good, right?
I mean, it's been terrible this year, but it was supposed to be good.
Right.
And Pat Surtain, it was like, oh, he's getting cooked by Tyreek Hill. Like, everyone gets cooked by Tyreek Hill. And then he got cooked by Chosen Anderson. So... maybe we should start. I don't know what was happening there, but
it's gonna happen.
Mike White threw a pass to Chosen Anderson, who absolutely dusted the best cornerback in the entire NFL.
Chosen Anderson,
Robbie Anderson. Okay, his name's Chosen now. Whatever. But that was such a weird game, man. I don't know what to even say or to think about that. In all honesty,
crazy game. Let's do Colts and Ravens. Minshew. Magic. Okay. Minshew Mania is back. It seems to be back once a year, every year. But the Ravens should have won.
They should have.
They should have. Some bad reffing at the end.
That was a terrible call. Or no call.
But it shouldn't have been that close to begin with.
Nope.
And I think the Colts, not Gardner Minshew. I mean, Gardner Minshew is serviceable. He's a decent.
He did not play very good. In all honesty, he didn't even play that great.
But I think we know now, like, the pieces in Indianapolis, they're better than we thought.
Yeah.
Because the Ravens are a very complete team, and the fact that it was even close.
A very complete team without 7 starters. But they're just always...
Were they without 7?
They were without 7 starters
from
week 1. But, I mean, it's going to be like that for the Ravens all year. I mean, they're just consistently hurt. So you have to figure out how to win without it. And in all honesty, as someone who would be willing to die for Lamar Jackson, he was fine. Like, he didn't do anything bad or lose the game for them.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess in that position, you just want your quarterback to win. And we've seen Lamar do it so many times. I mean, I think of the Colts-Ravens game. What was that, 2 years ago, where he had like 400-something passing yards? Yeah. But, I mean, the play where he escaped the pocket, I thought for sure they were going to win. And then, I mean, there was some missed calls. Like, you can blame the refs. But at the same time, I mean, Justin Tucker missed a 61-yarder. We've come to expect him to make that every single time. Mm-hmm. I mean...
It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the Ravens, it's a game. It happens. Teams lose games every year, right?
Yeah.
You can't win every game.
They're not dropping in my rankings much just because of that game.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I didn't know it was 7 starters. I know, obviously, J.K. Dobbins.
I believe it was 7 that they were without, because they were without Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley on the offensive line. They were without Odell Beckham. They were without, obviously, J.K. Dobbins. And then on the defense, I'm pretty sure Marlon Humphrey's hurt. So they were without Marlon. They were without a few others. I mean, the team is so hurt. But it every year. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what do you even expect from the Ravens anymore?
Yeah. So 7 if you count a wide receiver 4 and Odell Beckham Jr.
I'm kidding. Justin hates Odell Beckham Jr.
I don't think he's that good. Anyways, let's redo our pick from last week. We're gonna 3, 2, 1. Cardinals.
We were right all along.
That's nothing against us, right?
No, that has nothing to do with us and everything to do with maybe the Cardinals are better than everyone says, and the Cowboys got cooked.
I think it was an off game from Dallas.
It was.
I mean, obviously, it was a down game from Dallas, but
I think it more game.
Yeah, I just think it more attributes to the Cowboys than the Cardinals being good.
One thing that I will say is that if the Cardinals have Kyler Murray, they're 3-0 this year. Like, easily 3-0. Because they lost a close game against Washington. They blew a 28-point lead against the Giants.
Right.
And now they beat the Cowboys.
Don't knock Josh Dobbs, though.
Josh Dobbs has been fine. Like, he is getting it done. But
Kyler is
teams
better, obviously.
People were complaining that, the Cardinals are a terrible franchise for not tanking for Caleb Williams. Like, Kyler is more than good enough to be a successful NFL team. And so I think that maybe the Cardinals don't have as much blowing up in on the roster to do than we thought. Mm-hmm. There's good pieces. They got Hollywood Brown, Budda Baker.
Yeah.
Jalen Thompson's a fine corner or a safety. I can't name another player on the Cardinals roster, but they're playing well.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
The Lions won.
The Lions and the Steelers won as well.
Yeah.
You okay?
Smile if you're at the top of the division. Stop smiling. You're close, but
we are very close
to the
top of the division.
There, and we are. So stop.
This is the last time that you're going to be atop the division.
I did say a few episodes ago, our division is anyone's but ours, and I stand by that. But I think we'll be second or third, and maybe make the playoffs. I don't know. We're not okay.
If I have to watch Kenny Pickett take the field in a playoff game, I don't know what I'd do. He's terrible. He played fine.
Yeah. I will say, this is a positive and a negative. Matt Canada had a redemption game. He drew up some good plays, and they worked against the Las Vegas defense, granted. But
the jet sweeps.
Since he had a good game, no jet sweeps at all. I'm pretty sure. I don't think we ran one jet sweep. Crazy. But since he had a decent game, we're going to keep him for the rest of the year. But I wanted our offense to have a bad enough game to where we could fire him. But he had a good enough game where it's like, okay, you don't fire him after that. We'll see how we play against Houston this week.
Offensive coordinator AB, Antonio Brown. Don't look at Antonio Brown's Twitter. Just letting everyone know, please do not go on his Twitter. It is a sight to see. But yeah, and Steelers won, Lions won. I mean, both of us are pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Really can't complain. Lions looked fantastic. every doubt that I had against the Seattle game, I still have. But like everything that I felt like they did wrong defensively, it was a mass. Bijan had 60 total yards, and they were trying to run on us.
Yeah,
it was a domination.
Yeah, that was the bounce back that we wanted. So
I didn't think it would happen. In all honesty, I didn't think a bounce back game like that would happen, but it did. So high hopes, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's zoom out a little bit from divisions. Let's go conferences.
Ooh.
We're going to do AFC and NFC top 3 teams. We're going to start with the AFC, and I'll go first. We'll start with, should we do honorable mention to one?
Let's do an honorable mention to one. I like that idea.
My honorable mention, I almost put them at 3, I'm not going to lie. The Cleveland Browns. And I know there's some good teams for that 4 spot. Ravens are good.
You're leaving the Ravens out?
Chargers.
You think that the Browns are better than the Ravens?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
We just look at some stats. They've allowed 32 points through their first 3 games, and 26 of those points were from us.
From the Steelers?
Yes. So the other 2 games that the Browns have played, they've allowed like 3 points.
It was the Bengals who played an historically bad game and the Tennessee Titans offense.
I don't care. It's an NFL team. We see what the Cardinals are doing. They can score points.
I see what you're saying. The Browns' defense has been historic, but I don't know if I'm ready to say that Cleveland is better than Baltimore. But I do think Cleveland is in the lower tier outside, like the higher tier outside the top 3.
Yeah.
I think they're in that tier of like really good team.
I think just this week put me over the Ravens. And
all right.
I love the Browns defense so much. I think they still have a great run game even without Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Prayers out to him. They have the fewest yards allowed, their defense, by a margin of almost 100 yards.
I did see that stat.
They've allowed 163 yards per game versus the next closest is 253, and that's Buffalo.
I mean, the Browns' defense is ridiculous.
They are stifling. But it's crazy.
It's insane. Myles Garrett is phenomenal, and the whole team is amazing.
Mm-hmm. So, he had what, like 2.5, 3.5 sacks?
A lot of sacks.
Crazy.
He's incredible.
So that's my honorable mention. At the number 3 spot, this might be a little low because of this week.
No.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
What? Third?
Yeah.
They just scored 70 points. You're going to put them third
I
place?
am.
What?
I am.
Are you serious?
I don't care.
Oh my
I don't care.
Justin Thomas.
We do not care.
They scored 70 points.
I know they did. And they're number 3. You want to hear some more numbers?
Sure, go for it. Go tell me
actually,
number 2 then.
I don't have the numbers there. I don't like them
He's
more
not,
than the
he's
other
not
2 teams.
moved by a team that just had over 700 total yards.
I do not.
And 70 points.
We do not care.
He's not moved.
We do not care.
What would put the Dolphins at 1?
What would?
How could they possibly be better?
If it wasn't the Denver Broncos?
What do you want them to do? Not score 70? Like, no other team is scoring 70 points this season.
I understand that, but I'm not. I know it's historic. But I'm not going to jump them up to number 1 when I can't spoil it. But I'm not going to jump them up to number 1 just because of 1 week. No matter how historic it is, I'm not going to put them there.
Just give me the rest of your list. What's the rest of your list?
Okay, number 2 is the Buffalo Bills.
I see it, but there's no way.
And they're beating the Dolphins this week. We'll get to that later.
All right.
I think they're a better team. And then number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. Maybe of all time.
Arguably of all time.
Probably will be. Travis Kelce's back. Taylor Swift will be in the stadium, hopefully.
All right, I'm sold. They're 1. How could you lose in front of Taylor Swift? I mean, they have to win every game now.
And since Chris Jones has come back, their defense has looked solid.
Even without Chris Jones, their defense looked awesome against Detroit.
And we've seen what Patrick Mahomes can do without a defense.
That is the only I will give you Chiefs at 1, but there's no possible way that you could tell me that the Dolphins aren't better than them.
And I was very close to having Dolphins at 2. But I don't want to overreact. I love Josh Allen, what they're doing over there in Buffalo. I think they win this week against the Dolphins. That, honestly, my weekly pick is why I put the Bills at 2.
Okay.
Because if the Dolphins were to win and I had them at 2 over the Bills, that would look pretty bad.
All right.
Go with your AFC rankings.
I mean, my AFC, my honorable mention is going to go to Baltimore. I think Baltimore's beating Cleveland this week, and by that same logic of you putting Buffalo over Miami, because I think they'll win, I'm going to do that same logic. I think that Baltimore's going to... I don't see them losing 2 games in a row, especially after how poor they played last week. I just like the Baltimore matchup against Cleveland.
I do too.
I think that the offense, for as amazing as a defense as Cleveland is, normally with defenses like that, the number one thing that they don't like playing against is mobile quarterbacks, because it causes you to change your game plan. Because it's not just pass, just run. There's rollouts, there's designed QB runs, there's escape, there's quarterbacks who can play outside of structure, which defenses
like
don't like. Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Just like Kenny Pickett.
Sorry.
So I'm going to put Baltimore at 3. The only reason that's keeping them out of the top 3 is because they lost to Indy. My 3 is going to be Buffalo. I think Buffalo is a great team. Could see them higher. Like you were saying, I could see them beating Miami. I got Kansas City at 2. As high up as Kansas City is, there's just... Miami scored 70 points. As much as I think that TUA is left-handed Jimmy G with more accuracy...
Wow.
It doesn't matter because the team is so well-structured.
Yeah.
They're so well-coached. The scheming is phenomenal. Tyreek Hill is the most dominant athlete that we've seen in the NFL in years. I mean, he's ridiculous. Miami has to be 1. And as much as I like Kansas City, I think if Kansas City and Miami were to play in the playoffs, Kansas City would win. Miami is the best team right now. Without, there's just no way. You scored 70 points. You've dominated. You crushed. Or I guess they didn't crush, but they scored a bunch of points on San Diego. L.A., not San Diego. Why did I say San Diego? They haven't been there in forever. Then they beat New England, and then they could go out completely dominate Denver. I don't see a way that they're not 1.
I think we're just looking at it from a different way. Like, you say they're the best team, but they're probably losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The reason I have the Chiefs above them is because of that reason. So I think we're just looking at it from slightly different.
How much can I say that it's the Chiefs? It was the same way as I wasn't ready to say that the Chiefs were the best team in the playoffs last year because the team wasn't the best. They just happened to have the greatest quarterback of all time, and every other team didn't. So how much does Patrick Mahomes make your team better than a team that, the Dolphins are obviously a better roster than the Chiefs. But,
is it roster or team, though? Because
I don't know, okay? I'm saying the Dolphins scored 70 points. They deserve to be 1 in the power rankings.
Okay. Cool. Agree to disagree.
That's what I'll say. All right.
We just shook hands. Sorry we don't have video yet. That will be coming soon, by the way.
Ooh,
video. We're gonna try to figure out a way, because a lot of the clips that we're posting, it's just better to have a visual.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And we also look really stupid sometimes, and it's really funny. So
it is. We are 2 good-looking guys who make weird faces. Is how we'll put it. That's how we'll put it.
Definitely, both of those things are true.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to NFC. Do you want to start there?
So I do want to start
snake
here.
draft
And
type
I bet that we're going to have very similar lists here. My honorable mention is my Detroit Lions. So I like the idea of the Lions defense. It played so much better this week than it did against Seattle. So I'm going to put them at honorable mention because I don't think they're better than any of the other 3 teams I have ahead of them.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then my 3, I'm going to have the Dallas Cowboys, who used to be 1 and lost to Arizona. So I'm going to drop them. I do love the Dallas Cowboys. I still think they're Super Bowl contenders. The loss of Trayvon Diggs, which we didn't get to talk about in our last episode because it happened after we had recorded and posted, actually.
Yeah.
That's a huge loss for
really
Dallas.
Unfortunate.
It's
at practice too.
They were running. Gosh. He was doing a 1v1. It was a 1-on-1.
That sucks.
It's terrible. And in all honesty, I might have to take away my Cowboys Super Bowl pick for that because that is
I don't know.
One of the. It's
a big hit.
I'm still confident in Dallas, but that loss is just huge. You could see that they were just deflated. They did not play at their best. 2, I have Philly. Still taking Dallas to win the division. And then at 1, San Francisco looked unbeatable. Do we have the exact same
list? What if I told you that I have the exact same picks as you?
No way.
We purposely made 2 separate documents.
So we wouldn't see our notes so we could have different and argue. But
that's so funny.
That is
hilarious. I'm glad we have similar top 3s for both, but other than the Browns Ravens, but those are close.
They're super interchangeable. If there were to be another honorable mention, if we were to do a top 5, I would have Cleveland at 5.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I mean, I don't have to spend much time here. Honorable mention: Detroit Lions. I trust their defense more than Seattle, who I have right under them.
Really? Seattle? Not New Orleans? Or Green Bay?
Well,
because I think...
Okay, Green Bay and then Seattle.
Green Bay would be my 5.
Green Bay, then Seattle.
All right.
And Green Bay is just, I trust the Lions' offense more than Green Bay. As we saw this week, Green Bay's offense struggled.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later with the game picks. But number 3, Cowboys, same reasons. I mean, I'm not going to take one loss and move them so far down. I think they're great
unbeatable the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. Number 2, Eagles. I will stick by it. I think they're winning the NFC East.
That's
solid team. Jalen Carter is disgusting. He has the most pressures by an interior defensive lineman.
He has more than Aaron Donald.
More than Aaron Donald. And it's close. But, oh my goodness.
He is, I mean, as much of a freak as you possibly can be.
Yeah.
He probably should have been the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
I mean, there were so many concerns.
Right.
And I don't really blame teams for passing up on him because it was like starting to get really concerning.
Yeah.
But Philly doesn't care about that.
Right.
Philly cares about winning.
Yeah.
And
that's an Oakland pick right there.
That's an Oakland Raiders pick. No, he's so good. He is phenomenal.
And then number 1, I have the Niners. Their offense is just dynamic and their defense is just as great. Yeah. So I don't think there's any debate there for the 1 spot in the NFC.
As of now,
not. Yeah. I mean, maybe you could argue Eagles over 49ers. Maybe.
Yeah, last week I think you could argue maybe Dallas, like you said, but with the loss and with Philly not... This was the first week Philly looked really good, I think. First 2 weeks they were a little shaky.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I would say Niners are pretty locked into the 1.
Mm-hmm. And D Swift, man.
All right.
DeAndre Swift, he was a sell high for me, I'm pretty sure.
He was good. I don't really have anything else. I still would do the same trade again because we got Swift.
No, for sure.
We got Laporta and we got assets for Brian Branch.
For sure.
So like I'll do it all over again.
He had good vision.
I guess he doesn't have the
vision
got
of
LASIK.
I don't know.
He got LASIK. That's so funny. He pulled the Jameis.
All right. This topic is really fun.
Fun topic.
We're going to do Would You Rather.
Ooh.
2 quarterbacks. I know who you're taking. You know who I'm taking. So we're just going to jump right into this. Would you rather have, right now, on your team, Kirk Cousins or Tua Tagovailoa?
Ooh. Like this is for right now, like this season or like 5 years?
Now.
Like I want to win
Obviously,
right now?
5 years, Kirk is probably considering retirement.
So right now I'm building a team that I want to win.
Yes.
Can I get close to the microphone?
Sure. I know what you're saying.
Kirk Cousins.
I strongly disagree.
What?
I strongly disagree.
How?
I just do.
Kirk
we can get into the numbers here.
Kirk has more yards, more touchdowns. He's on the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's throwing all game. Of course he has more yards.
Okay, but they're in every game because of Kirk. Let's be real.
I'm not arguing that he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying I think Tua would make the Vikings have a win by now.
No, he would not. No, he would not.
He would?
Absolutely not. No, because here's why. Tua is fantastic this season. Like, historically good in terms of, like, accuracy and in terms of efficiency. But if you take out Mike McDaniel, you take out Tyreek Hill, you take out all the scheming, I don't think that he's a bad quarterback at all. But Kirk Cousins has bad coaching, bad offensive coordinators, not good offensive line, terrible defense that's making him... Teams know that they're throwing, and he still has to go out there and throw, put up yards, and Kirk has always been a good quarterback. We've never seen Tua outside the system. I don't think I would take Kirk right now. I really would. And it's not even a knock on Tua. That's me saying Kirk is quite a good quarterback.
I think that's outlandish.
How?
Okay.
We've never seen... Tua was not good before he was bad.
I think there's like 2 or 3 quarterbacks between the gap between the two.
Who?
I don't know. I don't have a list. I'm just saying, like, I think Tua...
You've always been a Kirk hater, though.
I don't hate Kirk. I think he's a great guy. No, I think he's a good quarterback, but I do not think he's better than Tua, especially...
Watch the Minnesota Vikings game and watch the Miami Dolphins game.
Okay.
Do it.
I just watched a Miami Dolphins game.
In the Vikings game, if you watch it, I mean, there's a few things that drive me nuts about Kirk. I hate the checkdowns, which Tua is the same way, but the fastest player in NFL. The two fastest players in NFL history.
Are they
throwing the ball?
Right. Jalen Waddle was out, right?
Okay.
Is Tyreek Hill that much better than Justin Jefferson? I would say he's not even better.
He's probably better.
Either way, it's close.
It's flipped. But
and Tyreek Hill, his stats are coaching, right? But his stats are way higher than Justin Jefferson right
this
now.
year, no, it's not.
Yes, they are.
I bet if I pull up the yardage, it's not any different. Like, I'm so serious. I will pull it up right now because Kirk.
He's obviously making a bigger impact.
So Kirk
than
has
Jefferson.
more yards than Tua. He has only by a little bit, which Tua didn't play the fourth quarter.
By the way, they're both 1,000-yard passers
Yes.
already, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's why we chose these two.
9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Tua has 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Let's look at who's leading the league in receiving yards. Justin Jefferson has 50 more yards than Tyreek Hill.
And 3 less touchdowns.
And 3 less touchdowns. All right.
So I'm just saying, like, Tyreek, okay, you bring up the yards, right. But Tyreek has 3 more touchdowns. He's making a bigger impact. Why? Is it because of coaching? Is it because they're a better offense in general? Maybe.
Yes. Not maybe. Yes.
But I think Justin Jefferson has 4 touchdowns if you put Tua on the team. Let's go into the stats, and then you can dispute whatever I'm saying.
All right.
Tua has a higher completion percentage while throwing 3 yards deeper on average.
All right.
So he has higher completion percentage, and he's throwing deeper. Again,
He's throwing deeper to wide open wide receivers.
Right. You can argue system again. He has a 121.9 passer rating. That's the highest in the NFL compared to Kirk's 108.2, which is still great.
That would be 2 of the highest.
And again, you can argue system. So this might just come down to system versus system.
I don't want to sound like a Tom Brady hater because I keep saying like system quarterback because I always thought that argument was stupid. And just looking at it, I now just for quarterbacks for me is strictly eye test. I don't really care that much about stats.
I get that.
I go strictly eye test. And for me, Tua is very confident, extremely accurate, but these stats are so inflated because of how good the offense is. I mean, they had 2 running backs get over, I mean, fantasy points are done, but they had 2 running backs get 50 fantasy points. 50.
Like 48 was one of them.
One was 48 and the other was 50.
Yeah. No, I get it. I completely get it. Let's do more stats, more system stats.
More system stats, sure.
I would say that Tua has better pocket awareness, and he's more mobile.
He is more mobile.
He was sacked once. They have a better offensive line. I don't think it's by that much, but they do.
I could get behind him being a better...
And again, they haven't been passing as much as Minnesota, so you can argue that too. Kirk has been sacked 8 times. They've been throwing the ball a lot. Their offensive line is not that much worse, but they are worse. Christian Darrisaw is a great left tackle. We'll get into that later. Kirk does have a worse offensive line, but the difference is not that drastic, I don't think. I just don't think Kirk has the greatest pocket awareness. But he is a pocket passer, and he's very good at it. But so is Tua. And Tua can leave the pocket, too, and pick up some rushing yards.
Yeah, Tua's mobile. He's got good pocket work. Again, I'm not saying Tua's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying that I would love to see Kirk Cousins on another team. Like, I mean, it's not going to happen, but I saw, like, the Jets were interested in trading for Kirk.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a playoff team.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Jets roster better, obviously. But I think the Vikings' weapons are underrated, too.
They're good weapons. I'm not... In my idea is, like, the Vikings' weapons and the Dolphins' weapons are both really good, actually. The Vikings' weapons are very underrated. But... you can't really even go by that because Kirk's and Tua's stats are so similar. So they're playing at such a similar level. And I'm just saying I would take Miami's coaching 10 times out of 10 over Minnesota's coaching. And if the stats are so similar, the teams are similar, I would argue that Miami has a better supporting cast for Tua. But if all of that is so similar when it comes to statistical and watching the game, and Kirk is playing with a severely worse team, then give me Kirk Cousins, throw him on a better team, and we'll see what happens.
I think the argument for me is just if Kirk was mobile and brought that element to his team and he was throwing just as well as he is, which we see is about the same as Tua, again, situation. But if he does have that mobility, I think they have a win. I think they have a win by now.
Who would they have beaten? Who would they play this week? L.A.? They almost gave the game away. Oh my god.
They always do.
It's the Chargers' way, man. But who'd they lose to? LA, Philly. He's not beating Philly. And then week 1, who'd they lose to? They got blown out, or not blown out, but they lost to Tampa.
TUA's beating Tampa on the Vikings.
I mean, it's a what if.
Yeah.
We really can't judge that. But
either way we go, both are 1,000-yard passers, and they've looked
3
very, very good.
Yeah.
So the argument isn't outlandish one way or the other.
If Kirk Cousins is outside your top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, by the way, you're just wrong. Like, you need to redo your list and put him in there because he's in there.
He's balling right now. I'll give you that.
He's balling.
Shout out Quarterback on Netflix, not sponsored.
That was a great series. Yeah. Watch it.
Very cool. He's a great guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Great dad.
All right. Let's move on.
He's a great dad. I've never met him before, but I'm sure he's a great dad.
Oh, okay. Fantasy football. Let's move on.
I lost.
We're going to do our fantasy starts of the week. As usual, I'm going to start.
Yeah.
I have a double start this week. In one game, same position. This week, I would absolutely start Javonte Williams and Khalil Herbert. The matchups are amazing. We just saw what Miami did with their running backs against Denver. Granted, it's a completely different team in the Bears that have looked horrible. But Khalil Herbert, that's a great matchup. He'll get the carries. He'll get the receptions if they're down. I like that matchup a lot. Fantasy-wise, I think he gets a decent amount of points compared to his average, which is really bad so far. Javonte Williams, same thing. I expect Denver to be up and run the ball, but even if they don't, he gets the receptions too. He got a ton last year. So I like both of those matchups.
Yeah. I like the matchups. For me, I would start Tutu Atwell. I think that at this point he might be someone that sneaks into your flex and plays every week. I mean, he's had back-to-back-to-back 3 consecutive 15-plus point games.
Wow.
He has been dynamic in the passing game and the run game.
Mm-hmm.
He's been getting carries. He got a touchdown called back that should have been a touchdown against Cincy. The Colts defense is fine, like we were saying, but the corners aren't really anything special. And the Rams offense looks like it completely kind of runs on Tutu Atwell and his ability to find open space and use his speed. So I think that at this point, he's a start and consider starting him every week kind of guy. And my other start for this week is going to be Michael Thomas. If Derek Carr plays, even if Derek Carr doesn't play, I still think I'd put him in there just because he's a good security blanket for Jameis to throw to, if Jameis is going to use that, because it's Jameis Winston. But Michael Thomas has had 11-plus points in all 3 games. I think that he's going to get the targets against Tampa. I like the idea of underneath throwing against Tampa and just kind of letting him get first down, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to start playing more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to get more and more targets as the number 2 with Olave.
Yeah.
Olave's the 1, easily.
Right,
he's fantastic.
easily, for sure.
But I would put Michael Thomas, I would start to maybe think about, again, putting him in like a flex, wide receiver 3, maybe wide receiver 2 if you don't like a matchup.
Yeah.
But I would think about starting Michael Thomas, and I would definitely start Tutu Atwell.
For sure. And you just brought up Derek Carr being out, Jameis Winston playing. I actually have another start. It's kind of out there. That's why I put it off. Man, if you are in a 12-team league
or higher,
start Taysom Hill.
Wow.
We have seen him get in the end zone like every game that Jameis Winston played when he was last year.
No, yeah.
Taysom Hill, I think he finds the end zone against Tampa Bay if Derek Carr doesn't play. This is strictly if Derek Carr does not play. I would put him in at your tight end spot as just a flyer because if he finds the end zone, that's instant top 10 tight end numbers.
Yeah.
Just because tight end position so slim. Yeah. Start Taysom Hill if you want to.
Yeah. Only if Jameis. I agree. If only Jameis plays.
Yeah.
I don't see him getting as much field time if Derek Carr plays.
Yeah. All right. Our sits of the week. I have some players that are like, you should start them every week, but
if you're ever gonna bench them, this is the week.
My first sit of the week. This is kind of out there. CD Lamb versus the New England Patriots. Dude, Christian Gonzalez, man.
He's been one of the highest rated corners in the entire league this year.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He's very good. I don't like any matchup against New England. So I think it might be a little down week and I know they just had a down week, so we'll see, for the Cowboys offense, fantasy-wise. CeeDee Lamb's their offensive focus, so I don't really see a bad game, but I see an off game. If you're wide receiver heavy, please consider benching CeeDee Lamb. Then my next sit is going to be, for similar reason, Calvin Ridley versus his former team in Atlanta. He's going up against A.J. Terrell. That's never a great sign. I don't expect the Jags to throw that much, and when they do, I expect Christian Kirk, Etienne, and Ingram to be the focus. So I think it'll be more of a spread offensive focus against the Falcons. So I would bench Calvin Ridley, maybe. Again, these are deeper formats, or they're your number 2 option, and you're like, oh, I have someone on my bench that might do better than them. Yeah.
No, I don't hate that. My sits for the week, I would definitely sit Aaron Jones if he plays, and definitely do not play A.J. Dillon. If you still have A.J. Dillon in your lineup, I mean, props to you for the loyalty. There's so many people that I know that are like, oh man, I'm starting A.J. Dillon this week. Like, put him in my lineup. Don't be that guy. But especially, it's looking like Aaron Jones is going to play. I looked at the update. It's LaFleur's the coach.
Yeah.
Wow. I just said his name terribly wrong. He's the coach, and he said that it's looking like Aaron Jones will play. Mm-hmm. If that is the case, don't get your hopes up. Detroit's defensive line just completely dominated Atlanta's rushing game, which is one of the best in the league. So I would not play them. Little snaps for Aaron Jones if he plays. And even if they give him majority of the carries, I don't like the matchup against Detroit at all. I think the run defense last week, if they could play like they did last week, there's no shot that they're having a good game. My second sit for the week is going to be Mike Evans. Like you were saying, that's a guy that really is always in a roster. He's always starting. I actually was very interested in Mike Evans' stats against Tampa because against New Orleans. I know Lattimore is arguably one of the top premier corners in the entire league. And I looked up his stats in the last 6 games against the New Orleans Saints. So 6 games, he has had 15 catches for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns in the last 6 games. 6 games.
Yeah.
And that is someone that is one of the most reliable receivers in the entire league. So he's just becoming a must bench against New Orleans. I would not play Mike Evans against New Orleans at all. I don't like the Lattimore matchup. Saints just have an awesome defense, and Baker did not look great. Granted, it was Philly, but I would shy away from playing Mike Evans this week.
I like that.
That 6-game stretch is just not something that I want to mess with, you know?
Yeah. I like that a lot. We're going to do our waiver wire ads just really quick. Devon, help me.
Achane.
Achane.
He just said that he wants people to not. Do they want?
It's not Devon Achane. It's Devon Achane.
Achane. Yes.
Devon Achane. I don't. Okay.
He has 50 points.
Yes.
Just pick him up.
Just pick him up. If he's there, pick him up. His role isn't clear yet, but you can't pass up on a potential league winner.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Pick him up.
Even though I wouldn't start him next week, just because he doesn't know his role. No one knows his role yet. But
if you're RB heavy, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
But if you're RB heavy, you probably won. So
yeah, I agree. I would just pick him up if you can.
Yeah. Next waiver ad is actually a tight end. Luke Musgrave out of Green Bay. He had an 86% snap share and an 86% route participation. I like that.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Love looks his way, and he has been.
He also can't catch to save his life, but pick him up.
Pick him up, because he'll start to. He is second on the team in targets, and he has league-winning upside with that snap share and target share.
I agree. That's too good to pass up.
Yeah. If you're slim on tight end or you need a backup, pick him up for sure.
I would pick up Joshua Palmer, adding onto the list. Terrible what happened to Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Prayers, the ACL, we never want that to happen. Quentin Johnston is not a reliable wide receiver too.
Yeah, especially as of now.
Yeah, as
early
of now.
on.
Maybe he can develop into one, but I wouldn't. Joshua Palmer is probably going to be wide receiver 2. I'd bet on it. And you have to throw to your wide receiver 2. I would pick him up.
Yeah.
If he's not already on a team, definitely pick him up. Just see where that goes.
Yeah. I think for the next few weeks, he'll be a solid fantasy option.
If Johnson starts developing, then maybe later on in the season he'll get less targets. But for now, I think Palmer's pretty much locked in.
It's
getting some good targets.
I also added Tank Dell on there. Again, he's having great games, so pick him up if he's there.
I drafted him and then dropped him. Don't be like me. Pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are like me and go by just defensive matchups every week that you like, here's some that I think you should take advantage of. I would take advantage of the Rams defense against the Colts.
I like that.
I like that. Gardner Minshew, if he plays, he's not good. We can all agree. We love Minshew
Not against
Mania.
the Rams defense.
We love Minshew Mania. Minshew Mania is awesome, but he's not good at football. So, again, like if you're like me and you go just by defenses in the
waivers.
in the waivers, then pick up the Rams. I would think about picking up Seattle's
against
New York.
Yeah, I think I'll be playing them in a number of leagues, actually.
Yeah, and I would also, if you can try, the Saints will probably not be on waivers, but I like the Saints matchup.
They're most likely rostered, but if for some reason they were dropped.
I also like it flipped, too. So if you see the Buccaneers defense on there, I think this will be a low-scoring game.
Defensive game,
I would pick either of those defenses up if you can.
Definitely. All right, let's go into our weekly picks. As usual. We're going to start with Thursday Night Football, which is your Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. Man, I don't want to say it again because I say this every week. It just feels like Detroit could lose.
Are you ever going to pick the Lions to win?
I am. They're going to win. I trust Jared Goff more than Jordan Love after last week. And I think the Lions are a better team. I like Green Bay's upside a lot.
I will agree with Detroit being the better team. I will actually kind of flip. If Jordan Love plays a great game and Jared Goff plays a great game, a Jordan Love great game is already better than a Jared Goff.
Yeah, I just don't trust him. That's why I didn't pick him.
It's a home game for the Packers. Detroit have had a historically bad record in Lambeau Field, but we're going to change that. We're going to go into Lambeau. We're going to beat Green Bay, take a game and a half lead on the NFC North, and hopefully never look back. I feel good about this Lions team, especially after last week. It gave me so much optimism for the team and the way that they bounced back from the Seattle game.
Yeah.
I like it. Thursday Night Football. The world watching. We're going to beat the Green Bay Packers.
All right. I love it. Moving on, we got the Falcons versus the Jaguars. This one's also kind of close for me.
Yeah.
I like the Falcons. I don't think last week spoke of them that much.
Yeah.
I like them, especially against the Jaguars defense, who looked okay.
Yeah.
But I am going to go with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think they have a bounce-back week. And, again, I trust Trevor Lawrence more than I do Desmond Ridder. Which, should I? I don't know.
Trevor's made some incredible plays, but Trevor Lawrence is giving me Lamar Jackson-ish kind of thoughts where he will make some incredible plays, but it's like, why can't he just get it done, So I am also taking Jacksonville. I feel like they're better. Atlanta's played fine this year. I think it'll be a close game. It's in London, so that means Kyle Pitts can score because
I didn't even realize
it's not in America.
I didn't even realize
so
that.
Kyle Pitts can
that's
score.
so funny.
So
start Kyle Pitts.
Start Kyle Pitts. It's not in America.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They have better weapons, better quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it's just that simple. Moving on. Dolphins, Bills. We talked about this earlier. I'm going to go with the Bills, and I could see the Dolphins winning just as easily. But I 51% trust in the Bills.
51.
Yeah.
That's actually funny. I had the Bills, too.
Okay.
I think
3 for 3.
You score 70 points, you're going to, even if you don't want to be, you're going to be really high. And I think that Buffalo's played really well the past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anyone's going to beat a Tua-led Miami Dolphins team, it's going to be Josh Allen, who's obviously literally an alien.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take Buffalo in this one.
Next up, we got the Broncos and the Bears.
Game of the week.
That is like picking between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. Like, I guess Vladimir Putin?
Give me Putin. Give me Putin at 7.
And who's Putin? The Broncos?
The Broncos are Putin.
Okay.
The Broncos are winning.
Okay. Agreed.
They looked... It's crazy to say this because they gave up 70 points, but they looked significantly, and I literally mean significantly better than the Chicago Bears did. The Bears were losing 41-0 when Patrick Mahomes stopped playing in the third quarter.
That's crazy. I did not realize that.
It could have been worse than... It could have been more than a 50-point win.
Yeah.
If Mahomes didn't sit in the third quarter. The beginning of the third quarter. So Chicago looks terrible. Denver looks bad.
Bad.
Very,
very bad.
Very bad. Yes, Denver looks very bad. Chicago looks like the worst team to ever get on a football field.
Man, it's going to be like watching paint dry. But
it also could just be a random good game, though. Like, I wouldn't put it past it to be like 35-34, close game, Russell Wilson shootout with Justin Fields.
Hail Mary, they get it, but miss on the 2-point conversion again.
They missed the extra point, yeah. This is quite the game.
All right, moving on. We got another close game. Ravens and Browns. I am going to go with the Browns.
Yeah.
And I was very close to picking the Ravens just because of matchups. Again, I like Lamar against the Browns.
Yeah.
But I am going to pick the Browns. They've just looked better to me. And, yeah.
Yeah, Lamar is historically good against the Browns. I'm going to take the Ravens here. I just don't see them losing 2 games in a row. I like the bounce-back game. I like the matchups. I'm taking Baltimore.
Cool.
It'll hopefully be a great game, though.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Tennessee Titans. I'm going with the Bengals. I don't like the Titans. I don't like the Bengals either. But the Bengals are better than they've been playing, and they will win this week against the Titans.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Cincy too. They looked better this week. Still very bad on offense, like horrible, but better than like all-time bad.
Yeah. Jamar Chase had a good game.
Yeah. I think that the Bengals are going to win. I do agree.
Cool. Next up, we got the LA Rams versus the Indianapolis Colts. I got the Rams. They're a better coach team. They're a better team.
Yep, better coach team. I got the Rams as well. Gardner Minshew is going to most likely play. If Gardner Minshew plays, I'm going to take the Rams pretty easily by multiple scores. If Anthony Richardson plays, rookie quarterback against one of the best coaches in the league, give me the Rams either way.
Cool. Next up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints. I'm picking the New Orleans Saints. They make it close every year, even when Tom Brady is leading the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. They just win against them.
They do.
So I'm going to pick the Saints. I could see the Buccaneers winning, but I'm pretty confident in the Saints.
Yeah, give me New Orleans as well in this one.
Cool.
I think if Derek Carr doesn't play, maybe the Bucs will take it, but I think that if he plays, no issues here for the Saints. I'm taking them to win.
Dude, we talked about how many games there are that are like we could go either way. Yeah. But we've been
going the same way, even though they're both super
except for Baltimore and Cleveland.
Yeah.
So cool.
Which I see the Cleveland vision. I do.
And we should agree on this next one: Commanders versus Eagles.
Give me the no. I'm just kidding.
Should we do the countdown, or is that cursed now?
No, I don't think we should ever do the. Wait, should we?
Should we do it so that the Commanders win?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
3, 2, 1.
Eagles. All right. Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Carolina Panthers. The battle of 0-3, much like the Broncos and the Bears. I am going to go with the Vikings just because they're a more complete team than the Panthers.
Which is not complete at all, by the way. He's not saying that they're a complete team.
Right.
There's more
complete. Like 30% complete.
30%
versus 10.
Yeah. Carolina are bad. They're going to be in contention for the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And Minnesota are bad with a really good offense.
Mm-hmm.
So
it could be high scoring.
I'm taking Minnesota.
I don't see high scoring, but I don't think it'll be close.
Carolina's offense is bad, and their defense is okay, and Minnesota's offense is really good.
Right.
So I'm gonna give me the really good offense any day.
Next up, we got my Steelers versus the Texans. I put this on record. I was like, if the Raiders win, then the Texans are winning the following week. I changed my mind.
Whoa, really?
But it's still going to happen. But I want to pick the Steelers because we're winning, right?
I took Pittsburgh.
Okay.
We've been agreeing too much, though. Maybe I should... No, I think there's no way Pittsburgh... Well, there is a way, but Pittsburgh are better. They should win. Stroud against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. As good as he's looked, it's rookies struggle against teams that can scheme up different defenses. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers could throw anything at you at any time. And so I'm going to take Pittsburgh, but I really do like Houston.
One of the things we can throw at you at any time is a loss to the Texans.
That's true.
So we'll see. I'm going to pick the Steelers, and I'm fairly confident.
Yeah, it does. You sound really confident.
I know this team. I've said this. I know how this team plays. Big win. We're going to come back and lose to the Texans. But we're not. because I'm picking us.
All right. So Steelers are going to win.
Reverse psychology is what I call it. Moving on, we got the Raiders, who we just blew out, by the way, versus the Chargers.
Bring that up all week.
We agree on this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Chargers.
Yeah, give me the Chargers.
Okay, yeah.
The Raiders are bad, and Justin Herbert is the second best quarterback in the NFL. Taking it to my grave.
Wow.
Yeah. So by himself.
That'll be a topic next week.
That will be. You know what? We can make it a topic now. There's no one in this league besides Patrick Mahomes that I'm taking over Justin Herbert, and I wouldn't even bat an eye. Like, I would do it so confidently, you don't even understand.
Josh Allen?
No. He's third. He's third and the only
Jalen
person
Hurts.
that... No, absolutely not. Never.
Kenny Pickett.
No, I'm taking the Chargers to win this one.
I'm not going to argue with it because even if I did have him third, it would be like tied for second.
Yeah.
I think he's very underrated. You saw my take in week 1 that our first podcast episode, I said the Chargers are going to bounce back and contend for the AFC. Do I still believe that? Maybe not,
No.
but I do think they could make the playoffs and win a game.
With a quarterback like Herbert, you just assume that they're going to win games because there's no way to describe it because everyone calls Justin Herbert overrated, but if you've ever watched him play football, you kind of think the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, in all honesty. Because if anyone has Justin Herbert outside their top, 5 quarterbacks, for me, it's like, if he's outside the top 3, I have no idea what you're doing, in all honesty. Mm-hmm. Like, he's so good to the point where I don't see the Chargers losing a lot of games because he's just going to win them.
Yeah. So I think they get to 500 this week against the Raiders.
I hope so.
Cool. We're going to do Patriots versus the Cowboys at home in Dallas. So, Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking Dallas here. Last week, every season teams lose games, like how Dallas lost, like how Baltimore lost. It just happens. It really does. Good teams that aren't like elite all-time great teams, they lose games to bad teams. Mm-hmm. Kansas City lost to Indy week 3 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, was it a good game from Dallas? Should there be concerns? Yes, but I don't think it speaks for the entire season.
I think the Cowboys win, and I think it'll be low scoring. I think the Patriots gives them some struggles with their defense.
Zeke return home game.
Oh my gosh.
Zeke return
Zeke
game.
Legacy game. He's going to rush for 8 yards. Can't wait.
No way. He's going to rush for 8 yards.
On 10 carries. I'm kidding.
Zeke's not that bad. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's
terrible.
He's bad. He's not
He
terrible.
used to be good. Shout out to when Zeke
He's a system running back. He needs a good O-line.
Shout out to when Zeke used to be really good, man.
Let's move on. Arizona Cardinals versus the 49ers.
Ooh, 3-2. No, I'm just kidding. Let's
not do that for this one. I'm going to go with the 49ers.
I'm going to go with the Niners as well. But
and I don't think it'll be close.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah, I could see it happening. But we also said that last week and that they won.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be careful, but I'm going to take the Niners, and I'm pretty comfortable about it.
I'm extremely comfortable. Next up, the Chiefs versus the Jets. I'm also extremely comfortable with this.
Very comfortable.
Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kansas City is going to destroy the New York Jets.
Will the Jets give them a harder time defensively than the Bears did?
No. They
what?
No, I'm kidding. Yes, they will.
Okay.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was going to say. All right. Final Monday Night Football. Seahawks versus Giants. I got the Seahawks.
Really?
You got the Giants?
I have the Giants here, actually.
And I actually like the Giants.
Yeah.
Seattle's defense is poor. I could see it being higher-ish scoring.
I know I said to pick up the Seattle defense, but I think that New York's going to win in a close game.
Okay.
Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense. The Lions game was fraudulent for Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't very good. They're good, but in New York, Monday Night Football, they've had a lot of pressure on them. I think that they're a better team, so I'm going to take New York.
Okay. Yeah, my only reasoning was New York's corner depth.
Yeah.
Seahawks have 3 great receivers.
That is a good thing that I didn't think about. So, but I'm still going to take New York.
It's still closer than America's saying.
I hope it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
The Giants fans don't deserve to watch their team get blown out on national television again.
Yeah.
Poor Giants fans, man. Shout out Luke Pokey. Pokey, if you're listening, we love you. We support
do love
you,
you.
and we're here for you.
You know what? Should I switch to the Giants for his sake?
Yeah, do it.
I'm not doing it. Sorry. We've agreed on too many. So, yeah. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining us again. We are about to go destroy this team in intramural flag football. That might age very poorly.
HGA, watch out. I'm going for 3 catches and 3 touchdowns. Hopefully Justin throws me the ball more than 3 times, but he knows every time he's throwing it to me, it's a touchdown.
So maybe I should throw it to him every
play. Yeah, that works.
Statistically, if we're going off statistics, which I was.
I don't need statistics. I'm following the eye test here.
Evan eye test. I love it. All right. We got the verse of the week as usual. It's Ephesians 2:8-9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works so that no one can boast. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
See you guys.